Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast. They call me Q the Boss. Oh, yeah.
Wrestling fans, are you ready?
We about to get this thing started. Yes.
And the millions watching around the world.
Yes.
From the capital city of the United States of America.
Okay.
Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Oh, today the gloves is coming off, guys. Today we at the Victim Olympics. Dun, dun, dun. I'm going to get straight to the point. What do we mean by this? The victim mentality is a way of thinking that causes someone to feel like they are always being wronged or taken advantage of. It is negatively impacting relationships, work, your mental health, and everything else in between. Everybody in my live today, please tell me if you know somebody that's always the victim. They're always the victim. No matter what, they can do the most diabolical things and it's still gonna be the damn victim. The world we live in today is all about perception. Once one creates a perception, it creates a reality in the belief of their perception. And now we're sitting in an environment where people are comfortable playing the victim after making a poor choice. I'm gonna tell you something, and he gonna get mad, I don't give a damn. Damn. So I had a guy call me the other day, he was on vacation, right? Hilarious. He's on vacation, and I'm looking at his story. He's kicking his feet in the water on a nice beach, amazing beach. Afterwards, I saw the story. About an hour later, I get a text message. So I go, yo. He go, yo. He said, yo, you think I could borrow $350? So I'm like, wait, isn't he on vacation? And then when I looked at it, I'm like, yo, this guy is on vacation and you're asking me to borrow $350 on vacation? There has to come a time in our lives, guys, where we got to be conscious of our behaviors and decisions. You are on vacation, that means you're celebrating winning. But for you to go on vacation, to come back to struggle, right? Knowing that you were struggling before you left and ultimately coming back to a worse struggle, that is diabolical. Damn. That's crazy. Do that even make sense? You on vacation. You on vacation. You know you don't have money to be on vacation. Everybody in my life, let's be honest, we all know somebody that go on vacation, they ain't got no bread. And they try to figure out when they get there. How you on vacation trying to figure it out when you get there? Right? This is crazy. Right, I'll give you another story. I got a guy, he comes to the store. He's always asking for discounts, right? But he always have the most expensive items on. So I've come to the conclusion. We live in a world where there are billions of dollars being made every year from knockoff goods. So clearly he's wearing fake items. He has to be, and I'm just being honest. I don't care if you get mad, I can fight, right? But I'm gonna tell the truth. We gotta be more accountable for our decisions. When you see poor people are poor because of their decision making. Because in most cases, black people is a multi-trillion-dollar earning entity every year. We earn trillions of dollars every year. Yesterday or the day before, February 14th was what? Valentine's Day. If you look at what people spent on Valentine's Day just to tell a love that they love them based on their economics, it states that you are in a situation where it's not healthy. Because I'm gonna tell you something, a person cannot tell me I love you just because of one singular day. I killed myself, I'm here for you, I committed myself to you, I'm devoted to you. That is more valuable than a goddamn teddy bear. That is more valuable than a goddamn ring. That is more valuable than, I don't know about y'all value. I don't know how y'all feel about y'all value, but my value is me committing myself to a woman is way more valuable than me buying her an item. And if she doesn't think that, she will not be my girl. Me keeping a roof over my family's head every day is more valuable than what I get on my birthday. I don't care about those things. I care about my family being happy and we working together and everyone building economics and building an empire. That's what I care about. I don't care about the other things. As long as I know where my children are, they safe, I care about those things. I don't care about the aesthetics because I realize that some people are playing a role in a movie for so long that they forgot the movie said it was over already. The movie is still going on in their life. Some people played a role in a movie so long that they forget that when they say action, you stayed in that action role forever. There's a story of a guy by the name of Heath Ledger. And Heath Ledger played the Joker in one of the Batman movies. Which one was it? Dark Knights? Dark Knights, right? He played the Joker. He got so infatuated with this role to the point where he literally made himself go crazy and ultimately passed away because of this role. This is how the human brain operates. You can make yourself believe whatever you want. I know people that think I'm the enemy. Meanwhile, I support them more than people that they think are their friends. Damn. I have people that think I'm their enemy more than people that don't help them or don't want to help them. That's crazy. But again, it's a mentality in itself. This is the victim Olympics. There are a lot of people walking around here with gold medals. You're standing on the Mount Rushmore of failure because of your decisions. We played a blame game, right? Look at how many times you get blamed for things that you do, but you don't want to be accountable for the things that you do. At what age do we start becoming accountable? At what age do we hold ourselves to the decisions that we make? At what age we stop looking for someone to feel sorry for us? I don't want no one to feel sorry for me. Every decision I made to this point was because of my choices. A guy said to me the other day, he said, yo, Q, but what if you never were taught? I said, my mother didn't teach me how to have sex, but I figured it out. He always blames his parents for everything that he fails at. And I said, it's funny because you say your mother didn't teach you money. You say your dad didn't teach you money, so ultimately you didn't learn money. I said, which I agree, but in the same breath, your mother didn't teach you how to have sex, but we still out here figuring it out. Your daddy didn't teach you how to have sex, but you still out here figuring it out. Because that's what you prioritized more over you learning things that could elevate your empire and your life. It is diabolical for black culture to think that white culture is supposed to fix us. It is diabolical for black culture to sit back every day and expect white people to fix us. What's the narrative? Oh, every time you say something, the goalposts get moved. Someone will say something like, yo, they didn't teach us this in school. I'm going to tell you something. Most of the teachers that you wanted to teach you finances didn't even know finances themselves. Most of the teachers that was in your teachers, they were struggling their goddamn self. Goddamn. So the person you're complaining about is a victim himself. You're complaining about a teacher not teaching you economics, right? But meanwhile, the teacher don't even know economics herself. You want the teacher to speak a language to you that they don't even understand. How unfair is that? This is not a black-white thing. This is an America thing. This is a constant problem where people are so comfortable to spend money looking like they got money, they forget to get money and have money. They say the average American cannot afford a $1,000 problem. Right? The average American can't even afford a $1,000 problem. Why? It's because of the fact that we get so captivated by looking like money. I'm gonna tell you something, and I'm snitching, I don't care. In my family, a lot of people look at it like you got money. So I can do all the dumb stuff with my money, but I expect you to have my back every time, which is crazy. And I always remind them, you're not my child. I can understand when my kids think like that because they belong to me. And that is my responsibility. And I will always be there for my children. But again, we talking about grown men who do not come from my testicles expecting me to carry them and fix them and pick them up when they make the most poorest decisions when it comes to their economics. How unfair is that? Don't try to make me feel bad for you when you're making poor decisions. Especially when I'm telling you what to do with the money that you have, therefore you can have money you have. Money is supposed to grow, guys. But we're so captivated by this nonsense, the victim mentality. No one cares that your dad wasn't in your life. Because reality is most black men and black women don't have dads. We in the 70 percentile at this point, right? So 70%. That's diabolical. That's a everyday problem. That's not a one-person problem. Everyone has these broken home syndromes and we have these issues. But if you're using that to be the common denominator to why you're failing, then you're ultimately going to continue to fail. You're trying to make a mathematical equation make sense that don't make sense. You're saying your life is messed up because of a parent who has no puppet master strings attached to your back when you can make the decisions other than against what they do. My mother wasn't great with money, but I am. By choice. My mother wasn't great with money, but by choice, I chose not to be. I said, I don't want to follow the formula I felt wasn't good. Because it's choice. I look at some people in my life that I'm willing to alleviate because of the fact that we just don't think the same anymore. But the one thing I realize is I come from a broken family. But my rule is I will never, ever in my life try to procreate another broken family. I'm trying to fix the trajectory of my family. I admire Hispanics and Spanish culture. How the unification of the family is so vital in elevating. Black culture will never elevate as long as we continue to play the victim in the decisions that we're making. That's crazy. You in the mall blowing up your credit card and then you're blaming a white man. That is diabolical. That is crazy as hell. Americans carry a $1.7 trillion in credit card debt. Collectively, Americans owe a record of $1.17 trillion on their credit cards, according to the new report in Federal Reserve Bank of New York. This is crazy. Let me guess, that's the white man. Nobody made you sign up for that credit card but you. I'm gonna tell you something. Anytime you take loans against money before you got money, chances are you're about to get smoked. Anytime you gamble and take a risk, chances are you're gonna get smoked. Anytime something sounds too good to be true, chances are you're about to get smoked. And that's what you need to understand. This is the mentality, guys. We're always the victim. One of my guys, give me a scenario of something that you see that people play the victim in. Somebody jump on the live. Jump on. Give me something. I just feel like most people don't want to be accountable, right? And this is the issue. When you're not receptive of your behaviors, you're going to continue to make bad behaviors, choices.
People wondering why they get sick, but they realize that they don't look at their diet.
Say that again.
I was going to say, people always having complain about their health issues, but they're not going to change up their diet.
And what you're saying is 100% fact. And you know what's sad about that, right? When you look at people, your behaviors are ultimately, watch this question. And we're excluding people that have health issues, excluding them. Most fat people eat bad. Agree or disagree? Most broke people always find money to waste, but not find money to invest. You go into the project, you see the most luxurious items there is on earth. The most luxurious cars. And I'm like, this is a mentality. There's a lady, and before you say anything, she called me the other day and said, yo, Q, you think I'm gonna lose my Section 8, my welfare? And I said, if I don't tell you the truth, you ain't gonna learn. And this is a moment where I gotta teach. I said, my sister, you've been on welfare for 10 years. You telling me in the 10 years, you haven't put nothing aside to get off this system. But you have every Burberry, every Louis Vuitton, every damn label that you could imagine. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I have a friend that I'm cool with, and I don't care if he get mad. Damn. He calls me one day and say, yo, the bank is inquiring about my house. So I said, your house? He said, yeah. So I said, I bet. I didn't know the situation of the home. I get to the house, and when I get to the house, I find out that the bank was repossessing the house because the original owner of the house went into foreclosure. And for the last 13 years, they've been staying in this house, not saving any money. Right? No, excuse me. Staying there for 13 years, not paying any rent. So in my mind, I said, yo, why don't you just do a short sale and buy the property? He said, what do you mean? I said, yo, we can contact the bank. I'll get my lawyer to get on top of it and see if we can buy the house. He goes, all right, bet. I get in contact with the bank. The bank tells me the price that they were willing to take for it. Remember, the owner of that house owned that house for over 30, like 28, 30 years. They had the house forever, right? But anyway, I said to them, I go to the house. So I asked them, I said, yo, how much money I got to put towards buying the house? It's 8 adults in the house. 8 adults. Nobody want to answer the question. So I'm like, yo, what the hell's going on? I need to know how much money I got. So if y'all want to buy this property, we could buy it. So they go, no one wants to say anything. So finally, I had to do a class assignment. I took out pencils and paper and told them to write their name and the amount of money they have towards buying this house. I'm asking my life. Take a wild guess. Out of 8 adults, how much money you think they had totally saved? 8 adults. 8 adults. Live, how much y'all think they had? You had 8 adults in a house for 13 years not paying rent. 13 years. Someone said 800. Someone said none. Keep going. Someone said 40,000. Someone said 500. Someone said 1,500. Now I'm gonna answer this here, right? You wanna hear this? 8 adults had a total of $5,000. And you wanna hear the saddest part about it? If you took away the youngest person, the youngest adult had over $3,500. So if the youngest adult had $3,500, right? That means the other 7 adults had $1,500. Damn. But you see how the culture moves. People move like they got money, and they behave like they got money. This is why people don't have money, and then they play the victim. Listen, when you go to the yams, right, to vacations into Jamaica, you fly out, but you gotta fly back to these responsibilities, baby. Am I wrong? You jumped on that flight. You flew out to go live your best life. I see a lot of women on my platform flying out talking about Stella got her groove back. But Stella gonna work overtime when she get back. Listen, let me say that again. I see a lot of my older women on vacation talking about Stella got her groove back. But Stella gonna work a hell of a lot of overtime when she get back too. And that's a harsh reality. And it goes vice versa for the men. I know guys who are flying out women who can't even afford to fly out themselves. I know guys who have multiple relationships and can't even afford the one they're in. You got 3 girlfriends and you got $13 in your account with 3 girlfriends. And you like girls are what do you call it? They're using them. She can't even afford to squeeze water out of a dry well and you talking about they gold diggers. Guys, we got to stop watching social media. You got the most brokest men on earth talking about women are trying to use me. No, you're just so dumb that you're dating women who need you, opposed to women that want you. It's a big scenario, a complete different premise. When a woman needs you, therefore she's gonna have her hand like this. When a woman wants you, she'll have her hand like this. But don't shoot the messenger. Let me say that again. When a woman needs you, she'll have her hand like this. When a woman wants you, she'll have her hand like this. Because again, when you're looking at respect, right, financially, respect comes with you pulling your own weight. I don't give a damn if I can work harder than you and faster than you. I respect the fact that you work the hardest and the fastest to your ability. No one will naturally not respect someone that's working the hardest they can. No one will naturally not respect someone pulling their own weight. Naturally, humans respect people that pull their own weight. I got a little homeboy right now, right? True story. My mouth to God's ears. His mother didn't have a house, a basement. Her basement wasn't done. He was talking about moving out. I said, yo, bro, you can save way more money living at your mother's house than moving out. You know what he said to me? Yo, I think I want to move out. I said, bro, you about to pay like $3 grand, $2 grand to live out somewhere, bro, when your parents only charging you crumbs, bro, comparable to what it costs to live outside. And I'm like, bro, and then they don't bother you. She don't be in your business. She let you rock. As long as you ain't doing nothing dumb, she wants you responsible, going to work, school, doing what you got to do, and clean up. That's an easy transaction. So he goes, you know what, you're right. He said, what should I do? I said, won't you fix your mother's basement up and make her see you as a man? He said, damn, I never thought about that. I said, families don't believe in working together to the point where families are actually losing. It is so sad that people have to go out in the real world and fight every day to stay in the same position and forever. And the cost of living only goes like, therefore never getting ahead. And it's natural. It's not just young, it's everybody. If families aren't building teams, then you're not building success. Success comes from teamwork. There is no team, there is no teamwork, right? If my son is my successor, I have to put him in a position where he can be successful. If I don't put him in position to be successful, there is no successor. So I have to make him save his money. I have to make him responsible. And that's how you teach, enabling someone to grow. For instance, I had a conversation with a guy the other day. He said to me, he wants his son to be a doctor. I said, your son won't be a doctor if you don't give him enough time to go to school where he don't have to worry about bills. He said, what do you mean? I said, you got to give your son almost to 30 years old of not paying bills for them to be a doctor. He said, damn, I never thought about that. I said, you and your woman ain't in a position where he's going to be able to be a doctor and just focus on his clinicals and his bios and all his work. I said, that's a major workload. That's almost 10 to 12 years of more schooling. He said, damn. I said, so I suggest you and your wife tighten up a little bit. So if you want this kid to be a doctor, you got to give him a position where all they can do is focus on school. Maybe work a little part-time job because you want them to learn responsibility, but that can't be their premise. They can't be paying for cars and all of these things and expecting to go to school to be a doctor. That's one of the hardest achievements in the schooling system. Damn. Yeah.
I think one of the biggest victim Olympics thing people do is they'll have a job that they hate, still go to the job, complain about the job, but don't save the money or invest to get out the job or just take a risk and get a new job. So I think that's one of the biggest victim things a lot of people do.
I agree. And you know what it is? People have a mentality where we look for the easy fixes for the bigger problem. Whatever the easiest fix is for the bigger problem, people do. But the one thing I learned, even in real estate, when you cut corners on anything, it ends up costing you more later. So watch the narrative, T. If you take a person, right, they see their issue. They don't like their financial situation. So they do things to make themselves feel better about the situation, not realizing that that situation is not going to change. So they start falsifying their mind to believe, you know what, I can go out to a restaurant. We want to feel like they have a issue. They have a thing going on right now that's called the main character syndrome. A lot of people suffer from this thing called the main character syndrome, where people feel like they want to feel like, for instance, you got to have a girlfriend. You go out to eat with the girl. First thing she do is take out her phone to do what? To record the food. And while she's recording the food, she wants to show it off to what? Social media. 9 out of 10 times you go on a vacation, the whole time you're doing is taking photos and videos for people to see on social media. They watch celebrities. The other day I watched the Super Bowl party and you had all the celebrities in the room. No one was having fun. Because everyone has this look at me mentality, the main character syndrome. And we seeing it in real time, and I'm like, damn, this is diabolical. It's sad, it's crazy. But again, a person can't see it because naturally we don't see it because, again, we go around whatever makes us comfortable, right? I know people that works as custodians at Target. If you catch them in the club, you would think they're worth 30 million. 30 million. 30 million. And again, I'm not dissing nobody that work at Target. But again, it's knowing your financial space. So you can change your financial status. You could always change your financial status when you behave in your financial status. My mother said, act your age, not your shoe size. Some people need to learn how to act their financial size and stop acting like they're bigger than their financial size. Otherwise, you'll never be able to change your financial size because you act like you're bigger than your financial size.
I don't think it's dissing people with jobs because I was a person I worked.
Say it again.
I said I don't think it's dissing people with normal and regular jobs because I was a person I worked at Amazon warehouses, did dishes. But when I was in those moments, I knew I wasn't going out and spending the money. I'm not going on a trip just to go back to Amazon. It doesn't make sense. So I feel like that's the biggest victimization right there. It's not dissing the job. It's just knowing where you're at and then getting to a better spot from where you're at.
But if you notice, I always say my favorite line is, it's never about how much money you make, it's what you do with the money you make. When you behave responsible with the money you make, you can ultimately change your economical positioning by behaving responsible with the money you make. For instance, if I make $30,000 a year, right, and I'm able to save 15 of it, imagine if I make 60, then I'm able to save 30. If I'm able to save 100, if I make 100, I'm be able to save 50. It's not about scaling your life up financially to live more reckless. It's about scaling your life up, being more responsible with your money, so therefore you're able to elevate. A lot of us don't realize that elevation requires separation. And sometimes we got to separate ourselves from our old self so our new self can become the new self while we're becoming the new self, but we have to get away from our old self. Some of us are creatures of such habits that we can't realize that we are our own worst enemy. I look at myself in the mirror sometimes and say, damn, if you continue to go around a certain mentality, the mentality is going to keep you stagnated. Watch the Instagram algorithm. The algorithm shows you what you want to see. Think about it. If I go on social media and I want to say, I want to kill my dad, you're going to see those videos, right? Why? Because the algorithm pushes it to you, right? But again, if you start focusing on positive energy, combating your thinking, ultimately making you think better. Naturally, if everyone around you thinks like you, that means you are in a box. You're in a box. But again, if everyone around you thinks different, that means you are amongst great people. You're in the ocean of people. But again, if a person constantly stays around anyone that's constantly telling you only what you want to hear, you're never going to grow. You're never going to grow. I watched this kid the other day. He sat in the store. He said, this is what he said to me, true story. I promise you. And I'm saying his name is Daniel. You're going to get mad. I don't care. Daniel sat in the shop the other day and was like complaining about what his family's going through. And I'm just looking at him like, oh, I'm tired of it and I don't want to deal with this no more. I said, Daniel, it costs to be the boss. You can't be in these people's house thinking you can run the house and you're not paying any real bills. He goes, but I feel like, I said, listen, you know what you could do if you don't like it. And I said, but when you get in the real world, you'll see how expensive it is. He said, you know what? Everything he said made sense but me telling him to go step out on his own. You notice that, right? So I'm looking at people now like, look, guys, how come men and women, right? Men and women can be comfortable with our bosses, tolerate our bosses, but we fight against the people that's in the house trying to build it with us. That's crazy. If your boys tell you to jump, in most cases, people say, how high? How high? Go take out the garbage. Okay. That's crazy. You don't even ask no questions because I'm going to tell you something. A paycheck will never make me overvalue my family. That's institutional mentality. That's institutional mentality. And you see it in real time, right? Victims blaming is when someone is blamed for their own harm or injury instead of the person who caused it. We're doing a lot of things to ourselves, but we don't never want to be accountable, right? It's that bad. Someone call him right now, 516-253-1150. One more time, 516-253-1150. We have this victim mentality that we don't want to, and if you don't expand on your mentality, your mind won't expand on your reality. Your results will stay stagnated based on the fact that you haven't expanded on your mentality. When I see challenges in life, right? I see a challenge. I embrace it. I don't avoid the elephant in the room. I attack it. And the reason why I attack it is because the elephant is only going to get bigger if I do not suppress it as it becomes a problem. And that's what we need to do. We need to learn how to attack the issues that we have right before it starts getting worse. I'm not going to smoke once a week and be like, okay, it's not going to get worse. Now I'm doing it 2 times a week. Now I'm doing it 3 times a week. Now I'm doing it 4 times a week. By the time you realize I am a full-fledged addict. And to justify my behaviors of smoking, guess what I'm going to say? It's not the weed that's killing me, but you're broke. So it is the damn weed. It is the weed. I got a guy the other day that told me he has a stay-at-home wife and his girl is on welfare. I said, brother, you do not have a stay-at-home woman. You have a girl that's on public assistance and our assistance is publicly taking care of her. Come on. This victim mentality is crazy, but he drives a foreign vehicle. He drives a foreign vehicle. I'm like, brother, you're not who you think you are. Social media has killed the culture to the point where people, right, unalive rather the culture. where people feel like they have to look like they're somewhere they're not because they're not comfortable where they are. I told you the other day, only people that look for things are people that are lost. When you know who you are, you're not looking for anything because you know who you are. I don't look for nothing. I let what's meant for me to have find me. And that opportunity will find you as long as you continue to work hard. Let me say that again. The only people that are looking for something are the ones that are lost. But if you know who you are, you're not looking for anything. You're sitting there doing what you have to do. And a lot of us are lost. Honestly, blindfolded, walking through life like we're in the Bird Box movie, right? Like a mummy. And our culture is getting sicker by the moment. Because anytime someone speaks on the bad narrative that's being portrayed in social media, I'm going to tell you something. Most women aren't looking for men to take care of them. I don't know what kind of women you be around. The kind of women I'm around are more educated, right? They're more educated. They're more responsible. They're doing great things with their lives. I don't go around women that's talking about some, a man got to, that conversation is already cut short. It's cut short with me. Because to me, that is crazy. Because if two people have a logical brain, they know that two are better than one. It doesn't even make sense. It's victim mentality. I seen a woman have a child with a dude that had a child already. He didn't take care of his first kid and thought she was going to take care of his second. That's a victim mentality. Listen to that statement. I seen a woman date a man who didn't take care of his first kid, and she thought he was going to take care of us. Oh, my Lord. There's no way I would think that. I'm going to tell you something. If a man can't provide, he doesn't deserve children. I agree 100% if a woman either. Both cases. A woman shouldn't be having a bunch of children on social services and welfare. I didn't know when it got cool, and I don't care if someone get mad and offended. I didn't know when did it get cool for a person to have multiple baby fathers. Right? It's only showing that you're able to create mad broken homes. Because the children are going to be broken. Because chances are having a bunch of baby fathers is only stating that you are lowering your value every time you have a child. So who made this culture cool? Where a woman will be comfortable being a baby mother than being a wife. Where a man will be comfortable being a baby daddy than being a husband. Who made that cool? Who made it cool? And again, this is what's going on in the culture now because of the fact that people genuinely feel like as long as I can make a child, but it don't matter if I'm there to raise the child. And there are people right now who think they're raising a child, but they're getting aiding and assistance from the government that's helping them raise their child. This is the problem. When are we going to stop being the victims and start realizing that we're making poor decisions? Families should be working together. Unity is everything. Teamwork will always make the dream work. But without the team, the dream will not work. I don't believe for a second that I'm greater than any man. But I genuinely believe that I make better decisions than a lot of them. I'm not going to sit there and play the victim when I know I've made poor choices. People always ask me this question, yo, why you don't always talk about your jail experience? And I said, because I don't want to be the victim of the experience. I learned from the experience. When you learn from something, that means you don't have to keep constantly reminding yourself of the experience. I broke a bone before, but you don't hear me keep talking about the bone I broke.
Speaking on that, how do you feel about just our culture? We always bring up slavery. I know it was a big part of our culture and our upbringing, and it's embedded in our DNA. But how do you feel on people who always bring that up as to why we're not in a better position in 2025?
I think people bring up the slavery thing because it gives them an excuse to still be a slave. Because if you keep talking about what our ancestors have gone through, I'm not saying we shouldn't celebrate the wins, the battles, and celebrate the fact that we overcame a lot of adversity and still overcoming adversity. But the problem is, if I say right now, white culture got more money than black culture, a black person will bring up slavery, and they don't still see that they're slaves to institutions as far as clothing, cars. They live in rental properties, right? They're dating people that can't help them build. So they're still slaves without shackles when you mentally look at it. A person can't see they're oppressed when they're constantly going around the oppressed. An elephant doesn't look as big as it is when you stand close to it. But once you remove yourself away from the elephant, you can see it. So in other words, some people need to step back from themselves, look in the mirror at themselves, and see the behaviors of themselves. Because naturally, we always make this excuse of why we're in a poverty situation. But then you look at the behaviors. I've seen the best cars in the world in the projects. And I see the most undereducated children in the projects. But if a person don't see that, yo, you know what? I could be a fool, but my children will not be me. I refuse. When a person understands that, I've met some parents, I'm not gonna lie to you, when you meet their kids, you stare at the parents like, yo, you did an amazing job. Educationally, they're not that sound, but they refuse to let their children be exactly what they were. I think we're not accountable on those narratives. But again, we've been through slavery. But you aren't what you've been through. You're only what you continue. And what we continue in is the behavior of what got us there in the first place. What I mean by that is this. Institutions are the same equivalents today as to the slave masters on a plantation. A lot of us would be free today if we knew we were slaves, said by the great, who we call him Moses, Harriet Tubman. A lot of people would be free if they knew they were slaves. But a lot of times you don't see that people are slaves to institutions because they don't do anything to remove themselves from the plantation of the institution. Empowering yourself educationally, empowering yourself spiritually, empowering yourself emotionally, empowering yourself financially comes with all of it. It's mind, body, and soul. You cannot win without anything being out of line. Everything has to be on track. You can have the best body in the world, but have the worst mind. You can have the best mind, but have the worst body. You can have everything in the world, but don't mean you have a relationship with your God. And that's what you see in people in today's society. They're fighting with themselves, trying to figure out themselves by people who don't even know themselves. You're looking for acceptance from people who don't even accept themselves. They're trying to figure out themselves. So in the process of them figuring out themselves, they're going to bleed on you. Because naturally, humans that are hurt naturally hurt people. Hurt hurts. Hurt people project. But sometimes you got to remove yourself from those environments that are content, complacent, and comfortable. There's a reason why you keep envisioning yourself to be something greater. One will never be great staying around people who are comfortable being losers. Losing is a mentality, and most people that lose is because of their mentality. Because I'm going to tell you something. I've met people that lost battles, but they won the war because they never gave up on a goddamn battle. I know people that get up every goddamn day and fight when the world is saying you cannot. I know people that get up every day and say, I'm going to win when the world said you're going to lose. Because a loser is only a loser when a loser accepts losing. A loser becomes a winner when a loser learns from the losing. A loser only becomes a loser when a loser is comfortable with losing. But a loser, when he learns from the losing, becomes a winner. There is no winning without losing. There is no success without failing. There is no life without making mistakes. But we grow from them. We become better. We don't continue to make the same foolish decisions, blaming the world for our mentality. The victim mentality has to cease. Yes, my ancestors went through, they was in shackles. But guess what? I'm going to make sure my kids in the kingdom. My ancestors went through shackles so my kids could be in the kingdom. So we could be in a castle. Because a lot of us are sitting back saying, you know, my mom and my dad, listen, I understand. Depression is real. I understand. Life happens whether you like it or not. But I'm going to tell you something. Everything in life happens for a reason and is a part of your story and your journey. But it's about how you learn to navigate the oceans when the waves start happening. If you sit there crying on a boat about the waves that's hitting your boat, and you're not realizing I just need to learn how to navigate these goddamn waves, then you're gonna just roll with the tide. Get thrown all over the boat, huh? Complaining about your life. But I'm gonna tell you something, life punches. But I punch the hell back. I punch the hell back. I don't sit back and fight with life and cry about what can't be. I'm too busy focusing on what is and what will be. There is something in me every day that I have to light that fire in me every damn day, regardless of what I started at. I will never sit down on my hands while other people are playing catch. I will never make an excuse while others are finding a reason. I will never project losing on my personal self while others will. I sit back every day and watch people do the most foolish things, but yet and still wonder why nothing is happening for the better. I watched the kid the other day have on an $1,800 moose knuckle jacket and asked me, can he borrow $20 for lunch? $1,800 jacket and asked me, can he borrow $20 to get lunch? He's about 26 years old too, just so y'all know that. He was 26. This is the world we live in. We're gonna sit on our hands and complain and look at ourselves. I think the hardest mirror to look at is yourself. I think the hardest window to look through is your own. Because a lot of people got more smudges and got more skeletons in their closet than the world sees. If the world could see that what's in your closet, you'll be embarrassed of what people see of you. There's a lot of things going on in our lives right now today that we have to work on. Nobody gonna work on you more than you're willing to work on yourself. I asked this kid the other day, I said, you wanna learn money? He said, yeah, I wanna learn money. I said, when the last time you read a goddamn book? He said, but what? Stop following YouTube. A lot of these influencers is full of crap. They tell you things that's called, it's like clickbait, but it's not just clickbait, it's another one too. It's when it knows that it triggers emotions, it triggers feelings. It makes you jump up, right? You get motivated by these videos, but you know that it's not true. It releases dopamines. Oh my God, so I can get rich overnight? I ain't never told you that lie. It's gonna take time, discipline, and consistency to get rich. And one thing you'll never get me on this damn podcast and lie. It's gonna take consistency, it's gonna take teamwork, it's gonna take discipline, and it's gonna take discipline when others aren't disciplined. You're gonna have to miss out on trips, you're gonna have to miss out on eating out, you're gonna have to miss out on wasting out. It's just what it is. You're gonna have to get more acclimated and focused. Lock in, tunnel vision. There is no shortcuts. But I'm gonna tell you something. Life has no shortcuts. But when you start doing what's right, them shortcuts feel like them long cuts feel shorter. Let me say that again. Life has no shortcuts. But when you do them long cuts, them long cuts start feeling shorter. And I've learned that all the things I did that was hard in life became easier. I don't want to get up every day, but I do it. I don't want to chase my dreams every day, but I do. Because there's somebody that wish they could. And we don't even appreciate what we're able to do because we're too comfortable talking about what we're not able to do. And what you're not able to do, the wisest person is one who will choose someone selectively in their life that can do what they can't do. How strong do you become? I tell my team all the time, we form Voltron. Today, one of my guys came in the store and asked my guys, what do? They broke down what they did. And I looked at him and I said, we form Voltron. Without the legs, without the body, without the arms, without the head. There is no movement. Everyone plays a role. That's how life is. Finding out who plays a role in your life for you to elevate. There are people who have their car in park thinking they gonna go and drive. How the car in your life is in park, but you believe you're gonna drive? How is that even possible? There are people right now sitting at a dead-end block waiting for them to build a goddamn road. You had a dead-end block waiting for them to build a road. Do y'all hear that analogy? You're sitting in a car at a dead-end block waiting for them to build a damn road. But you're not willing to turn your car around and go backwards so you can be better than what you were because you learned the wrong turns you made the first time. We got to get back being healthy. We got to start working on ourselves. There are people who are only supposed to have been in your life for a chapter, and the sad part is you wrote half of your, or damn near your whole book with this person in the book. This is why you lose it. There are people right now who are holding on to people in chapters in their life book that they should have been left chapters back. That's why your story sounds the same. All your chapters sound the goddamn same because you're holding on to the same energy going into the next chapter. I'm going to tell y'all something. God cannot order steps that you're not willing to take. God cannot order steps that you're not willing to take. Somebody got to step into reality today. And I think where there's darkness, God will provide the light. But he got to see that you're willing to make the steps. He got to see that you're willing to make the strides. Because I'm going to tell you something. The best lesson in my life was my hardest lesson. The best lesson, I remember a story, and I'm going to say this on record. I was mad young. I found out I was having a kid. I said, damn, I'm about to be a father. I was scared to death. Scared to death. But ultimately, that kid has become one of the greatest blessings to me because it made me grow the hell up. It made me grow the hell up. I stopped making excuses. I started working hard on myself. I got more discipline. I'm going to give y'all a quick story. I remember one summer, and I want y'all to hear this. One summer, we go to my boy's pool, and I'm looking at my son. He wasn't comfortable with taking his shirt off. I'm being honest. So I looked at him, and I said, yo, you not comfortable taking off your shirt? He's like, no, I'm good. He didn't want to get in the pool because he didn't want people to see his body. So I looked at him, and I said, okay, this is a moment where I pour into my king. My young king, I pour into him. I said, all this summer, me and you going to go to the gym together. We're going to work out every day together. Every day we're going to work out together. I said, I'm going to show you discipline, and I'm going to discipline myself with you. I'm going to go and I'm going to lead you. I'm going to show you how to become greater. Every day we went to that damn gym 5 to 6 days a week. That following year, my son was the first person in that goddamn pool. And the crazy part is, he didn't know how to swim. But that summer, after he lost all that weight, he learned how to swim. And I said, you want to see something? When you challenge yourself to do things that you normally wouldn't do, you become greater. There is no greatness without responsibility. There is no greatness without following. If everyone figures out someone to follow that's great, they will ultimately find some level of greatness. Because greatness naturally leaves trails that only fools won't follow. Greatness leaves trails that only fools won't follow. A lot of people are so egotistical. They say, I'm not following him. I'm not following her. So you go down the road of darkness and never win. I don't give a damn when somebody say Michael Jordan is great. He got 6 chips. I'm going to listen to him. If somebody's doing better than me, I damn sure can listen to him. I don't mind. I listen to young people every day. I get inspired. I get inspired by young people every day. I'm not the end-all be-all, but I'm damn sure comfortable with learning. I can go into a room where someone can teach me something greater, and I'm going to listen. Because I'm going to tell you something, insecurity will trick you out of your spot. Insecurity will trick you out of your spot. Watching someone else's window will make you see how you will lose and forget how blessed you truly are. There's somebody right now that be like, oh my God, they got more money, but you got better health. There's somebody that said, you got better health, but guess what? You got both of your parents. Every time you look at it, it's always something that you can say, I could trade off. I think the greatest thing that ever happened to me is when I found my relationship with my God. And I think everyone needs to wake up and realize, why are so many people depressed? Why are so many people sad? Why are so many people negative? Why? Because the devil is at work. He's at work, and it's working. He's trying to make you forget And it's working. He uses social media to make you forget. Because he says all the time, leave it at the altar, leave it to me, give it to me. I got you. Where there's weak, I'll make you stronger. Where there's blind, I'll make you see. And the sad part is in society today, you have people who are physically born blind and they can see better than people that has a 20/20 vision. Because a lot of us are uncomfortable with expressing ourselves, talking about our truth. Let's get out of insecurities. It is so sad when I see people wear a belt and they sag the pants all the way down because they want people to see the belt, or they drawers. It's sad when I see women who have on a red bottom shoe and their bank account is in the red. You got on a red bottom shoe when your bank account is in the red. Y'all don't hear me. You got on a red bottom shoe when your bank account is in the red. Y'all didn't see the poll the other day that said how much a bag costs to make? 75 US, 25, $50 US. And they sell it for like 20-something, $100, $3,000. And y'all don't see that as a problem? I'm gonna tell you something. One thing about me, one guy said to me one time, and I find this funny, he said, yo, Jewish people mad cheap. I said, why do you think I move like Jewish people? I said, well, let's have a conversation. Do they got money? He said, yeah. I said, why you ain't following them? Maybe you a little slow, but I'm not. If you tell me somebody winning, right, and you show me the results of how they winning, I'm going to do exactly what they doing to win. It's common sense, guys. We got to stop playing checkers and learn how to start playing chess. A lot of us are making very fast, intricate moves. But I told my boy the other day, I said, with or without a relationship, I'm comfortable with myself. And I'm going to be honest with you, it took me years to get to that mentality. If a relationship don't compliment me, then the relationship has to be what carries me, what makes me feel significant. If a relationship makes you feel significant, that means you don't love yourself. Naturally. If a relationship makes you feel significant, then you genuinely don't love yourself. A lot of times people talk masculine or tough in front of the room. But when they're alone, they show who they truly are. Just because you say something don't mean you are what you say you are. Because no matter what circumstance I'm in, I'm going to always put my priorities first. I would never go broke being in no goddamn relationship. I don't give a damn. Friendship or relationship. I'm never going broke being in no goddamn relationship. If I went broke, it's because I might have did something dumb, but not because of no relationship. It's not happening. But again, we got to learn to love ourselves and start forgiving yourself. Some people need to give themselves grace. But at the same time, while giving yourself grace, you got to stop giving yourself an excuse. Your father not being there does not have nothing to do with you being broke. Your mother not being in your life has nothing to do with you being broke. The neighborhood you grew up in has nothing to do with you being broke. The decisions you made has every bit of the reason to why you broke. Because think about this, and I realize this. If one can make it from somewhere, two can make it. And if two can make it, three can make it. And if three can make it, four can make it. If you look at that narrative, right, of logic, when you see the person that usually make it out the hood, they're way more disciplined than everybody else that's in the hood. They're way more disciplined, right? I love my mother for the things that she did when we were younger. And I didn't realize when I was younger what she was doing. My mother would always take us out the hood and take us to like the nice neighborhood laundromat, the nice neighborhood things. And one thing she used to always say to me is, I would rather a shack in a nice neighborhood than a mansion in the hood. And I used to look at her and say, what do you mean by that? She would say in most cases, People will take on the mentality of the environment, only getting to a level because they have the mentality of the environment. When you learn to stop caring about where you're from and start caring about where you're going, you'll have a better direction to get to your results. More people spend more time on where they're from opposed to where they're going. People will brag about being from Brooklyn and been in Atlanta for 30 years. People will brag about being from this place and that place, but they're not focused on where they're going. The more time you spend on where you've been, you can't see where you're going. So again, if I'm so captivated by where I'm from, I lose track of where I want to go. Because in order to become comfortable, to get into these spaces and environments I want to get into, I'm going to have to change my mentality. The rooms that you want to get into will not conform to the way you think and behave. You're going to have to learn to fit the room. Because if you don't fit the room, you will not be in the room. And a lot of us want to get to rooms that we don't fit, bringing our old behaviors. You cannot get to certain rooms behaving a certain way, right? And that's the truth. I watch people drive staring in the rearview mirror. And what happens if you do that? You crash. And a lot of people are crashing because they're not seeing and staring into what is to come. The best thing in life, and I want to say this today, when you go to the movies, right, and you're sitting in the theater, before the actual movie come on, you see previews. Previews are the coming attractions of life, which is the movies. When you dream, when you think, you're doing something called presenting to your mind the coming attractions of what could be in life. And when you inspire yourself to chase after those dreams start slowly becoming reality. There is no success where no one doesn't believe in himself. Notice, a plant may be huge on the surface, but before that plant broke the ground, you had to see what was going on underground. A lot of people who aren't elevating is because their foundations are weak. If you don't start at the ground level, working on the ground level, which is your discipline, then the discipline will never allow you to get past a certain level. If we want to win, we got to learn to mind our behaviors, to mind our decisions, to mind our consistency, to be conscious of everything that we're doing. Otherwise, you could think you're doing a lot, but in reality, be doing absolutely nothing. I watch people that run the figure 8 every day in eternity, thinking that things are going to change. To sit back and wait for a culture to change our culture, that is delusional. We got to work on our behaviors. An expensive jacket don't make you rich. A luxury car don't make you rich, right? Because the last time I checked, you cannot buy your way into heaven. The last time I checked, you cannot buy your way into success. You're going to have to put in that work. And a lot of us are fearful of putting in work. But I'm going to tell you something. Every boss at one point was a worker that learned how to become a boss. And you'll never be a boss if you don't learn how to be a great worker. The most humblest people in life are the ones who have the greatest relationship with their God. The most arrogant people are the most brainwashed people who are being led by someone else. And I tell somebody today, before I get out of here, it's time you take the Windex and you clean your windows so you can start seeing reality. I think a lot of us have overly stood and looked out other people's windows and not seeing our own blessings, right? One day a guy said to me one day, Tyler, he said, yo, Q, you got a big home. I said, but you wouldn't even want to know me when me and my son was sharing a room. I said, you see the big home. But they don't remember when me and him shared a room together. Not an apartment. We shared a room. And I said, you see the end results, but you don't want to respect the story. When I meet successful people, and I want to say this before I go today, I never ask them how much money they make. I always ask them, what was the beginning of your story that push you to go so hard to be who you are today. If you don't create your why, then you'll never do anything. Your why has to be so much bigger than you that God will ultimately make it big enough for you. Till next time, guys, don't let that go over your head.